Let's bring in New Jersey Congressman Jeff Van Drew. Interesting that President Trump is getting something of a honeymoon this time, as Madison just suggested. He didn't get that in 2016.
He didn't get it. This is going to be a far different administration. He learned a lot in that first term. He did a great job. But with the knowledge he has of the bureaucracy and the system, and the fact that in reality, there were people within the system, deep within the system, that were hurting him. This is different. The support of the people is there. And I got to be honest with you, it's also different because we have just put up with 4 horrible, terrible, dysfunctional years with Joe Biden as the president of the United States. And it's just not on one issue, whether it was the borders, whether it's the economy, whether it's foreign affairs, whether it's what's going on in our military. The list goes on and on. People are ready for a change. They're ready for a golden age. They're ready to bring America back, and they see President Trump as the man who can do it.
One of the signs that things are different this time around is the contribution levels that are coming into the president's inauguration fund from some of the biggest tech companies around, companies like Meta, the parent of Facebook, and Amazon, and OpenAI. They're each donating $1 million to his inaugural fund. You didn't see that happening back in 2016.
No, you didn't. See, in 2016, they thought it was a fluke. They just thought something went awry and that he snuck in somehow. This election, it was clear. You had 2 choices, very divergent paths, and President Trump clearly won. He won the popular vote. He had a landslide in the electoral vote. It is clear that people are tired of it, and they're tired of all this woke philosophy being shoved down their throat. And they know that he's even going to be far more effective this time because he knows the system and he's going to have really good, focused, loyal people around him. So I think we're going to have really a great 4 years. You know, it'll be bumpy. There's going to be ups and downs, and let's not kid ourselves. There are going to be people who want to stop these things from happening, that want to go along to get along and just continue with the Biden administration. They're deep within the bureaucracy, but we're not going to let that happen. So I think it's going to be a good time, good years, and a better America.
We can all hope, but according to an article in The Hill, there is an awful lot of adverse reaction planned on the part of those on the left. Here's what they write. They say Democrats are not planning an all-hands resistance to President-elect Trump. Some on the left are challenging Democrats' default to reject Republicans just for the sake of party loyalty. I think the hypocrisy of opposing an idea that you agree with just because somebody on the other side also agrees is one of the biggest problems with the 2-party system right now. That from a former campaign advisor to Senator Bernie Sanders. Seriously, when you talk to actual voters, most of them don't apply an ideological definition to their beliefs, the former advisor said. So some on the left are trying to rein in the impulse to oppose President Trump and his ideas just because he's a Republican.
And they're smarter. I mean, here's the deal. Whether you're an elected official or a constituent, judge the ideas by the value of the idea. So the case is, you know, most importantly, that you just don't oppose something because a Republican happens to be for it. It's the way I deal with things. I look at issue by issue by issue. Now, it happens to be, I really think it's extraordinary, quite frankly, how bad the Biden administration was. You usually see some good ideas. You see some forward movement in some areas, but just in the areas that I mentioned again, whether it's foreign affairs, whether it's national security, whether it was the border, whether it's the condition of the military right now, whether it is so many of the areas that we all think about, it just wasn't good with any of it. So right now, if you were a Democrat and you were smart, you'd climb on board. And then, you know, there are areas where you can disagree, but some of them aren't going to be smart. Some of them are going to fight tooth and nail. They're going to fight every single thing. This was a big battle, John. This was about the direction America would take. Are we going to be a nation of exceptionalism? Do we still have a golden age ahead of us? Or are we going to be a nation that is just global and we're just one of many other nations and we're mediocre? We have chose greatness.
The president has, well, more than a month before he actually takes office, but he has his slate of advisors pretty well lined up and filled out, almost 30 of them. need Senate confirmation, and we have their pictures coming up. What would you say is, is he going to get all of these people confirmed? Is he going to get most of them? What's your take?
I think he's going to get all of them. I think they're all good people. And what I particularly like about him, and I sit on Judiciary Committee where you see a lot, working with Chairman Jordan there. I've been deeply involved in what goes on in Judiciary. So much deep within the system is wrong. They're all, the FBI, good agency, most good people work there. But at the top was really faulty, and there was so much that was wrong. The Attorney General's office, the Department of Justice, and it goes on and on. The things that happened, what they did in working with the White House inappropriately, working with Democrats inappropriately, are unimaginable, unspeakable. So you need somebody to go in there and change that culture. We need to protect Americans, and we had an FBI at the top and a Department of Justice and an Attorney General. They're there to protect the American people. The American people needed protection from them. That has to change. We want to bring confidence back into our government and back into our agencies.
You represent a district in New Jersey, we mentioned. New Jersey is kind of the epicenter of the drone sighting epidemic. Alejandro Mayorkas, the Homeland Security Secretary, said he thinks one of the reasons these drones are suddenly being more prevalent or more visible to people is because the FAA passed a law, I guess you'd say, or a statute allowing drones to fly at night. That happened in September of 23. Before they were daylight only. Now they can fly at night. He says he thinks that's part of the problem. And then he said this on This Morning. Listen.
We in the federal government have deployed additional resources, personnel, technology to assist the New Jersey State Police in addressing the drone sightings. Some of those drone sightings are, in fact, drones. Some are manned aircraft that are commonly mistaken for drones. We have not seen any foreign, we know of no foreign involvement with respect to the sightings in the Northeast, and we are vigilant in investigating this matter, the Department of Homeland Security, with the Federal Bureau of Investigation in the lead.
He says we're vigilant in investigating this. What are your thoughts?
This is either a high level of incompetence and stupidity, or a cover-up, or both. I mean, just think about this, John. Certainly some of them are copycats. Certainly some of them are backyard hobbyists. Certainly, there are companies out there that make drones, but more sophisticated ones, they would never do this. It boils down, it's either the government that has some of these larger drones, and I'll give you a real big example that matters a lot. It happens to be in my district even. We have the nuclear Salem power plant. It's a very, very important, and it's nuclear, and we obviously have to protect it. And they reported seeing 2 very large drones and have asked for the airspace around them for the first time in the history to be actually restricted because of the concern they have. This is all over the country. Real people, grounded people who know what they're speaking about have concerns. So either the government is doing it, which they deny, or the government doesn't know who's doing it, even though they say it's safe. It's crazy. They say, we don't know where they're from, we don't know what they're about, we don't know what they contain, we don't know what they carried, we don't know what they're doing, but we know it's all okay and you need not worry. I don't want people to worry, but this has been going on for just about a month now. They should be focused on this. And we need to do better with drones in general, John. We are a full decade behind where China is. China has been dealing with Iran, and Iran now has tremendous drone capabilities. It's all serious. We got to get on the stick.
Congressman Jeff Van Drew, Republican of New Jersey. Congressman, thank you.
My pleasure.